Alrighty, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 502, Disney Princess Relationships, Healthy to Toxic. Already, I don't like the title, as I don't like most of these titles we cover. The word toxic is always irky for me. It kind of makes me go, what are you trying to say? Is it bad? Do you simply not like it? Is it poisonous? Are you hurting someone? What's the big deal? It's one of those buzzwords we've picked up the past few years, and it's just silly. But maybe this guy has some arguments. I'm always up to learning about Disney films. They're always fun to watch with my cousins. And maybe I'll learn something. Maybe I won't. Maybe it'll just be a stupid video. I don't know yet. I haven't seen it. So let's see what we got here. This is March. Came out this year. Has about 200,000 views. And it's almost 19 minutes long. All right. Not bad. From let me see. WickedBinge. WickedBinge has 306,000 subs. Alrighty. WickedBinge it is. It has a bunch of links to Pixar and Disney and all kinds of other videos they made, I bet. That's probably what they're doing here. Yeah, okay. They have WickedBinge, OneUpBinge, OtakuBinge, PokeBinge, assuming that's Pokemon, BloodBinge, which is a horror channel, and just some guy named Kyle. All right. So good for them. They like making the YouTube videos, and they have a bunch of channels, and they're linking to it. So they're being very successful on YouTube. So good for them. With that assumption, we're saying that they know their audience, so they're making a video for them. I simply don't know what kind of channel this is. Sounds okay, but we will find out. People are mentioning in chat that we need Whisp. Yeah, what happened to Whisp? I haven't heard from her in a while. Busy.
Well, she's taking a vacation.
Yeah? Okay, good enough. I've been having lots of beers, and some of them are German.
Well, let's just say that.
And I've been showing them the Whisp, but Whisp never got back to me, so I don't know what's going on there. We'll find out in another day or so. But, yeah. So, wonderful little channel, it looks like. If you like binging on things, I don't know. Who knows? But I'm sure you guys have seen some recent or past 10, 20-year Disney flicks. You know, a little bit of the Disney princesses. And I'm assuming they're going to Pixar as well, so there might be some non-romantic style stories in here that don't involve Disney princesses. But I'm assuming, or else they wouldn't have posted links to Pixar. So, anyway. Let's find out. Here we go. Everyone's in the watch together, I believe.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
It's hard to talk about Disney princesses without talking about their main relationships. While not all of them end up married at the end of their movies, and some don't have romantic relationships at all, the connection that these princesses form with their co-leads can be both an interesting means of character development as well as just really sweet in general. Mostly.
How dare you insult Hero's Duty, you little gutter snipe?
With that being said, you have to wonder who has the healthiest relationship of them all. I'm Caleb with WickedBinge, and this is Disney Princess Relationships, Healthy to Toxic. As said above, while the focus of this video will be on the official Disney princess line, not all of these princesses have a romantic relationship. But hey, there's...
Okay, so automatically you're changing the premise. If you're going for just relationships in general, romance is a whole other thing. Like once you start talking about love and liking and marriage, it's like, oh, okay, that is a done deal. How do you evaluate one marriage based on another? They don't really go into that in Disney flicks. It's all about the fantasy and the romantic aspect, not the living together and, you know, who has the best lifestyle, who has the best income, who has the best communication. Like there's all these things you could talk about, but that's not what, as far as I remember, Disney shows are about. They're fantastical fairy tales. So I don't know. Fantasy realms tend to be rather fantastical, so I don't know how this is going to work, but sure. Romance and non-romance, why not?
Nothing wrong with focusing on friendship, especially when those can range from healthy to toxic as well. As always, we're going to be starting with the healthiest pairs before working our way down to the relationships that could use some work. For our gold medal of healthiness, we're giving it to Eugene and Rapunzel. If you include the Tangled
That
TV
looked terrible.
series,
Like the design of like that slide looked horrible. Like I think the aspect ratio was fucked, just so like those two characters could fit on it.
Was that the 2D or the 3D? Because we're looking at the 2D right now.
Okay. Like there was like a slide that was transitioning between like this scene.
Oh,
And I was just like, it looked really out of place.
okay.
Because
So,
I thought like they like put like more effort into these like
Yeah.
productions.
so the story of Rapunzel is about a guy falling in love with a girl. So that's the whole story. So they better have a good relationship or a good storytelling about romance, because that's the point, which you would hope is one of the better friendship romance stories, because you don't just go straight into love, you sort of build it up. And I think that's what they're going to get out of here. I can't think of anything specific about Disney just going straight to love. So hopefully we'll get some good arguments. I don't know. Seems pretty obvious, but okay.
these two have not only had the most screen time out of all of our Disney princess pairs, but have also had the most development. Now, yes, they did technically start out using each other, with Rapunzel wanting Eugene to take her to see the floating lights, and Eugene being willing to do anything to get his satchel back. Within just a few scenes, though, the two of them...
Wait. Is that his whole plot? Just to get his satchel back? the girl...
I guess so.
The girl has his satchel or knows where it is, and he's like, I need my satchel. Where is it? And then he develops feelings for her. Like it's like, okay. Just want my stuff. Can I go?
I know that there was like a stepmother that is pretty much a witch that keeps Rapunzel there because of the hair, like makes her immortal.
Oh, fancy.
But that's all I remember. I've only seen this movie once with my sister.
All right. Interesting.
began to bond, but also genuinely trust each other. They like each other for who they are and are able to help each other grow. What's more, they're willing to do anything for each other. We see this in the film's climax, where Rapunzel is willing to give up her freedom for Eugene's life, while Eugene was willing to die so that Rapunzel would no longer be a prisoner. Their relationship only gets better in the TV series, as we see how patient and supportive Eugene can be when...
All right, so this is like extra material? You can't really...
Yeah, that is extra material. Like, I didn't even know that this show exists.
Yeah, so...
I was only aware of the 3D movie.
Yeah, you could make the argument for any Disney film that goes straight to DVD or VHS at the time. Most people don't even know those stories, like the Lion King, Timon and Pumbaa stuff. Like, we don't know because no one's watched them. So we're trying to evaluate, like this is the problem with this criteria already. You have to go 1-to-1, like movie to movie, not movie to series, not extra books or sing-alongs or whatever else they've got for kids. It's just movie to movie, romance or romantic subgenre, and stick to that. Like, don't start jumping into like...
Yeah, this is just jumble mess.
Yeah, like, can you imagine like the Lion King romance? Like, they have the best... It's like, wait a second. They're lions, first off.
Incest?
Yeah, they barely know each other for half the film. Yeah, it's just sort of a little different, a little strange.
Simba gets a hard on and like, oh yeah, like I gotta go back for the pride. So many female lions. Finally, I have some good time.
Yeah,
but
plus
goodbye, Timon and Pumbaa.
Plus, he was partying for like, I don't know, 10 years or whatever it was with Timon and Pumbaa.
Something like that, yes.
Where he didn't give a shit, and he's like, I should go back to my dad, or what's left of my dad's kingdom. And yeah, he decides to fight, get a girl, and then he becomes the king, and you're like, okay.
Because James Earl Jones, as a cloud lion, told me to go back.
Means no worries. What a wonderful philosophy we're teaching kids. Just don't worry about your responsibility. Just grow up into adulthood doing nothing. It's okay.
I mean, I would have found it funnier if someone took the clip where it's the cloud Mufasa, but just take the scene where it's just, brother, help me. It's like, oh, wrong scene.
Yeah. It's a bit of a mixed message when you actually think about it and watch the show as an adult. You're like, this is probably not the best story for kids, if you think about it. But it's dramatic, it has fun music, and it looks good. So people don't pay attention to the deeper themes of what's being said.
comes to postponing their engagement. For as protective as he can be of her, Eugene also trusts that Rapunzel can take care of herself. As for Rapunzel, she continues to be supportive of Eugene, and the two of them are continually shown to be a loving power couple. We really couldn't think of any Disney princess pair that's better than these two. Getting our silver medal of healthiness is the land and sea couple, Ariel and Eric.
How the hell did she get her
Although
blonde
getting
hair
a
done?
man was never Ariel's main goal, being more interested in human.
Isn't like the original Little Mermaid story, like the Danish one, is like really depressing.
Yeah, she turns into sea foam, doesn't she?
She becomes a sky maid.
Yeah, something happens to
Yeah.
her body, and then she transforms into a spirit of something.
Yes. Shouldn't we count that as well?
No, it's
It's just because of the Disney prince.
got to be the Disney version. It's much more romantic.
But there are like 3 or 4 of these movies, aren't there? Like because this isn't the only one.
Yeah,
There
have.
was like spin-offs and
Yeah.
maybe there's a show as well.
Yeah, they're definitely spin-offs, and I did not see them, and I don't think they made the theater, or they were not well advertised or marketed.
I think like most of these are just direct to video anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Like I had no idea about that cartoon with Rapunzel. I was like, well, that's looks fine. Like it looks okay, but where was it broadcast? Which network?
Probably the Disney Channel.
Maybe it's on their streaming service. It could have been out 20 years ago for all I know. I could not tell you.
Humanity in general, and just wanting to be on the surface, it really didn't take long for these two to fall in love. Thankfully, it wasn't too shallow of a love, managing to develop well over the 3 days they were together. Even if she didn't seem like the girl of his dreams at first, Eric still did all he could to help Ariel out and show her a good time. Even when she did stuff that was strange, Eric never looked down on her or made fun of her. The two also protect each other during the wedding and the final battle with Ursula, but we still felt that these two were another great relationship example. Moving on.
Okay, so basic hero stuff. That's really like he's nice to her. He saves her. It's like, come on, can you give us some details? Like what was specific about him that makes him a good guy or a good relationship? Did they danced together and it was very romantic to you? Did they have the same likes and dislikes? Like what was the thing? It's pretty weak to say Ariel, because all she wants is to explore the unknown. She sees this guy. She's like, oh, this is kind of cool. He's kind of cute or whatever. And she ends up falling in love. He's like, what the hell's this weird chick doing? I'm going to help her out, I guess. And he just ends up being a nice guy. Is that all it takes? He's at the right time at the right place? Magic mermaid chick comes out of the water? Okay. It's like if you actually watch the show and said, okay, here's my criteria. Here's what I'm looking for. Okay, Ariel sucks. She's just infatuated with the outside world. She happens to find a guy and she latches onto him, and that's it. Like there's aside from the heroic stuff, which is what you expect. Like it's not like Sleeping Beauty or Snow White where there's a goal in mind. They're there to save each other and they love each other. It's like, okay. This is just, fun. Let's go out. I'm a mermaid, but I want to explore the world, and I have all this responsibility I don't want to take in part in. I want to go out and do my own thing. It's like, okay, you're becoming independent.
Isn't there like the only handicap that she had was that like she was mute, like while she was having the human form, like she couldn't speak at all.
Her voice was taken from her, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, at the cost of making Ariel human, Ursula took her voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. If only we had the Kingdom Hearts lore for this.
Yeah.
That would explain everything.
Ariel.
Well, where she is.
Yeah, no. Don't,
My head. Just a mention of Kingdom Hearts now.
Don't go there. Yeah, we don't need to complicate.
Did you say Kingdom Hearts?
No. No, he didn't.
I can hear Cyrex screaming somewhere.
Don't mention anything about Disney.
Kingdom Hearts is like?
Yeah, Disney is bad. Kingdom Hearts is fine. Just the Disney parts are bad. It's like, okay, we got it.
to the bronze medal of healthiness, it's going to the royal couple of New Orleans, Tiana and Naveen. Similar to
Who?
Rapunzel and Eugene, these two did
What is this?
I think this was the last big 2D Disney movie. I think it was the frog, and I can't remember the name.
Oh,
I
jeez.
have not seen this one.
Princess of
Oh,
the Frog.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, this one.
I don't know it. I've never seen
All
it.
right.
Well, if they're
I think this
talking,
was released on the late 2000s.
oh really? Okay, because if there's a story related to New Orleans that takes place in its foundation or like 20, 30 years later, that'd be pretty interesting.
The only thing I know about New Orleans is Left 4 Dead 2.
Okay. Oh no, it's amazing. It's an amazing culture. To learn about it, it takes like hundreds of years of history. The foundation of all this music and culture and drinking and food and Creole cuisine. I'm sure there's other stuff like the slave trade that's in there as well. I'm not a guy who knows this stuff. I've always wanted to travel there. I made plans back in 2020, and then that didn't work out. So, yeah, no, it's something. It's on my bucket list to go to New Orleans. So, yeah, fun stuff. But it's a great part of American history to pull from to make a Disney flick. So I'm glad they did it. I just never heard of this Disney film. Does anyone in the comments know? Because I have not. Princess and the Frog? Okay. Maybe. Who knows?
Didn't exactly start off on the right foot, and it took a bit longer for them to bond too. Tiana tended to sort of look down on Naveen for being a spoiled little rich boy, while Naveen just saw her as bossy and strict. Thankfully, once Naveen was willing to not be so lazy and Tiana loosened up a little, the two were able to bond and see different sides of each other. Their affection for each other grew. Who could forget that beautiful dance sequence in the swamp? And before long, they were willing to give up their own goals for each other. Being willing to sacrifice and being supportive are both great traits in any couple, and these two former frogs have plenty of examples of this. We've now come to a slightly more obscure Disney pair, Princess Kida and Milo.
Okay, so this is no longer using the medal scoring system. We're in number 4, so it's going from good to worse, I guess.
I guess it's like getting worse and worse.
Yeah, so I don't know how this is worse. I haven't watched the previous one, but there's got to be like, oh, they hate each other and then they love each other. It's like, oh, so that could be a good thing. Like that could be like they start as rivals and they're egging each other on. They hate each other for whatever reason. And they learn to care about each other. That could be a really interesting story about two people learning to overcome their problems, kind of like in the previous one where one guy was just some rich kid. The other girl was just so bossy, and they learned to get over it. That could be good conflict. I don't know. He's just saying it like it's a 10-second thing, and that's why it sucks. You're like, what?
As the heroes of Atlantis, these two are another great power couple. It helps that both of them care deeply about the city of Atlantis, and pretty much the moment Milo arrives in the city, he's willing to help Kida learn more about her people's ancient history. Though this may have also been because Kida had healed him earlier, showing him the kindness of the Atlantean people. Still, the two of them work together well, and the attraction they have towards each other is very clear, though they don't let this attraction distract them. Milo continues to help Kida throughout the first Atlantis film, rescuing her and being willing to stay by her side in the end. Even if this couple doesn't get a ton of attention these days, it's still really sweet.
See, this sounds perfectly fine. I don't see, like, it doesn't have to end in marriage. It doesn't need like this big romantic scene, but they just solving problems together. They get along very well. So that's not, it's, how do you compare that to romance? Is that worse? Is that better? Is it less healthy?
I think they get married by the end of the movie.
Oh,
and
they do?
Milo even stays in Atlantis.
Oh, all right. So
yeah, they do.
So it is romantic to some degree, just not as musically inclined as the other ones. I don't know.
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I remember that like there was like those two characters like had like a really good dynamic, and they just fit together so well. Because like Milo is like very morally like justified, like not justified. That's like a different word, but like he's just like good. Like there's no evil in him, and that's exactly like what she was seeking. Because like she has a prejudice with the outsiders. The military, like I think it was a commander who was the evil guy in Atlantis, and it was justified for him. But like Milo is like proved to be like the good example to follow. I think Milo was the only one who was willing to stand up for the Atlanteans. Everyone else was like initially was just like, well, it's time to like rob you guys from your minerals.
All right, so typical American comes by, finds resources, says, "Give me."
Yes, that kind of story.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, fairly recently I rewatched this movie. It was really good.
Yeah, it sounds like the Pocahontas sort of setting where they come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except with Atlantis.
Yeah, same idea. All right, fair enough. I mean, it doesn't break anything. It's fine story setup, but with magic and ancient civilizations. Cool. All right. The Copper Owl. Thank you, sir, for the $1.11. At long last, I have a microphone, so now I can make vids and join Smudcast if a Pokemon Lego video is brought up, and if I can learn how to use group chat. Also, my book is currently in review at a publisher. Looks like things are coming up. Millhouse. Well, that sounds good. That's awesome. You're making a publishing.
It's really cool.
Yeah, doing your own book. That's great. You got your microphone going. A Pokemon Lego video. I know we have people who like Pokemon on the panel at times. A Lego video, I don't know specifically, aside from maybe one memer who puts stuff in there. That could even be you for all I know. So
A very dedicated one in that.
yes, they have a lot of options for making characters out of just, I don't know how many sets they have, but they can make just about any character I can imagine. So they got Whisp to come out pretty good. That was kind of cool. So yeah, no, it's cool. We'd be happy to have you on if we have a Pokemon type video. I'm sure we could find one for you. Cool. Alrighty.
Up, we have Cinderella and Prince Charming. Now, you may be surprised to see these two so high up on our list. After all, in the original Cinderella film, the two only spend a couple scenes together. Scenes that are really sweet, but admittedly a bit shallow. Well, what really boosts these two up in our ranking
This is a very
the
simple story
direct-to-DVD
as well.
film Cinderella: A Twist in Time. In that film, we see just how willing the two of them are to fight for each other.
Okay, wait. So now we're actually talking about a second film, right?
Yeah, again, like with the first example, where like the guy was justifying his choice
Right.
with like an extended universe.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
like
direct-to-video bullshit.
yeah, it sounds like the story with the most media has the most scenes. It's like yes, and because the subgenre is romance, naturally you're going to have more believable relationships when there's more content, no matter what that content is.
Oh, if only Atlantis had like more sequels. Oh no, it does have, and it has an entirely different voice cast and animation
Oh,
style. Yeah, it's really bad.
But
Only the first movie exists.
But
to the point that like
yeah, but did the guy actually know that and watch them? Because if he did, he'd probably be like, "Well, this has more."
it seems very weird that like he does not count those things. Yeah, it's just. I would be happier if you only counted the main Prime movies for that, man.
Yeah.
This is just, it's a mess.
Because every Disney film is based, well, not everyone, but most of them are based off a certain folklore or originally the fairy tales from yesteryear. And they try to not embellish them, but do their own spin, do their own take, which the focus could be on the mythos as opposed to an actual story of romance or friendship or fighting together. Like Beauty and the Beast is, to me, one of my favorites because it's clear what's going on. There's a girl, she's rebellious, she's intelligent, she doesn't want to do the things that they expect of her. She gets captured, and now she's like, oh, I'm now a prisoner, but I'm not treated horribly. And in fact, I'm allowed to go where I want. There's an amazing library. This is amazing. There's a magical curse. I want to help this guy, even though he's kind of scared. Like, there's all this wonderful development of figuring out what she wants to become and do, and ends up helping the antagonist. When that's what a story and a romance is. The antagonist is usually the target of affection, the girl. And the protagonist is the hero. And that was a nice spin on that. That's why I enjoyed it so much, because I'm like, oh, I'm seeing this from the perspective of the girl who's now a prisoner, and then she's also an object of desire from the rest of the people like Gaston and the city and what have you. So to me, that was very effective, because it was all about her and her wants and what she needs to do, and the plight of this antagonist guy who just wants to die, essentially, and he finds a new life. That to me was very romantic, but
it's still not on the list. I wonder where it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Or like the beast's behavior is gonna be considered toxic.
He's a beast. It's like, yeah.
No, I'm sure.
Because he killed Gastons. That's why he is ranked so low.
He killed the murderer. Yeah, wow, horrible.
He killed the best character.
Yeah, that's true. Here's Porcelainus the Fourth. Hey, thank you. The fact that there are people who make videos in earnest about the relationships in Disney movies makes me think that Disney and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. Okay. The video makers, as we've seen, who do critical analysis or try to do critical analysis of popular media, are a bit weird, to put it lightly. And they have their crazy ideologies and their biases and their fetishes. And it's just like, it's funny for us to listen to, because when you hear, like, I don't know, any of these left-leaning ideologues who talk about the attraction of males and females or trans people, you're like, okay, that's fine, but you're going into fan fiction territory, which is either didn't happen or you're just oh, it's so good, but it'd be better if they were gay. You're like, that sort of mentality. So I wouldn't blame Disney per se. You would blame some of the future of the latest Disney flicks, and you would definitely blame the direct-to-DVD stuff, because some of that's really bad. So how that got off the ground, I'm not sure, because you'd think that Disney would want to make quality products all the time, but it's always their big budget ones like Frozen for whatever reason. And I'm sure they have done a Frozen series or a mini series or something.
Nope.
They haven't?
Nope. Surprisingly enough.
Huh. I remember watching the first and second with my family, and they loved it. And I thought, what, this would really work if they just kept that quality up, but did like a sing-along show or like a day in a life. Like
anything but a sing-along with
Frozen.
Frozen.
No, that's what kids like it for. Like, that's why I got out of it, because kids love the dancing and the music. And, 4-year-old girls or 5-year-old love it. They're like, okay, that's why I'm watching it. So it would make sense to just have like a kid's show about her going about her day, singing about whatever. Obviously, that would take talent and effort to make songs that are attractive and fun and catchy, but it wouldn't be as high a production value. You just make it to DVD or streaming, and it'd be like a one-season thing. It's like, okay, here's a cool little DVD you can get for your kids that has Elsa singing and dancing, and it's like, that's what kids want. So it makes sense to me, but I get that if they have a big property like Frozen, they don't want to dilute it at all. So, and instead just make money on merchandise. That probably makes a lot more sense too.
That is what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
And their relationship. Sure, it may rely on the love at first sight cliche, or love at first touch in this case, which is why we couldn't rank it any higher. But even with that, their love is still incredibly strong, with Cinderella being willing to risk getting arrested in order to try and get back her prince, while Charming not only chased after Cinderella, but jumped out of a window for her.
Okay, wait, this is the modern version. We went from the 19...
Yeah, like it's the sequel.
We went from the 50s
Direct to video, yeah.
To direct to video. Okay.
The support, love, and protectiveness these two have for each other is just incredibly sweet. And of the 3 original Disney princess movies, Cinderella and her prince definitely have the strongest relationship. After them is Moana and Maui, the first of our strictly...
Oh yeah, he did establish that it's not about like love or romantic side, but like... They don't really have any relationship in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
The real
Moana
collective is what they say.
Moana wants to return like an item to an island, I believe.
Yeah, this guy's like, I'm a god, go home, I could do it all myself sort of mentality.
Yeah, I'm a demigod. Like, I don't need you.
Exactly. So it's like, get out of my face, you person, you human, you little mortal girl. And at every chance, he tries to get rid of her, but because she has her trusty magic friend, was it that? I can't remember what she has. Some water spirit or something.
The water itself, yes.
Yeah, something like that. And so she manages to keep coming. He's like, I thought I got rid of you. He's like, nope.
Magic grandma, I believe.
Yeah. Something like that. I was like, okay, so I mean, if there's rivalry, that's fine, but it has to develop into something. But it's not really going anywhere. Okay, maybe he's gonna explain it.
Platonic pairs. But even without the complication that is romance, these two definitely had a rough start. Maui tricks Moana, trapping her in a cave and not really caring what happened to her, and then continuing to dismiss her or try to get rid of her when she gets out.
I could watch that all day.
Moana can also be pretty pushy when it comes to getting Maui to help teach her, as well as when she pushes to know Maui's backstory. Later on in the film, tensions rise again when Maui gets angry at Moana, blaming her for his hook nearly getting destroyed and saying the ocean chose the wrong person. Though he may have said this out of anger and didn't mean it, it was still pretty harsh. But despite all this conflict, the two are still shown supporting each other and encouraging each other during their lowest points. Maui even sacrifices his hook for Moana. In many ways, these two are almost like siblings. They don't always get along, but when it gets down to it, they're truly ride or die for each other. After that, we have what could be...
Yeah, but that sounds like more of a function of the plot pushing them around than their relationship as a result of...
Yeah. So with this, like, we can count like any movie, Disney movie, really with this kind of standard.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, like then we have Monsters Inc. Like,
may as well.
The two main characters like have like awful
Boo
conflicts.
and Sully.
Yeah, like I think if that's like our method of like measure, that we should like have it as number one. Like that was like really good, well done, much better than these two.
I'm trying to think of like the Lady and the Tramp. They clearly loved each other. It was cute and sweet, and they share their food and they want to spend time. And it's like, yeah, everything they do is positive. They should be number one as well. Like what's the hell? Like what are you talking about?
It really count like friendship and we have the criteria that it has to be a Disney princess.
Yeah, I mean, you could try and make the argument. Let's say there's these two buddies, and their relationship is so close they do anything for each other, compared to like a husband and a wife. It's like, well, they've been married for 20 years, but these two guys, they would die for each other. And one of them gave a blood transfusion. Oh my God, it's like, how do you compare that to an old couple? Like, how does that work? This is tough. Like, this is really silly how they're scoring this. There's barely any metric I can follow that makes some sense. Just put.
Cinderella wasn't even a princess. Like, it was a prince. Like, is that the subversion of the Disney princess?
Yeah, he saved her from poverty and punishment. He should get number one. Like, what are you doing? Prince Charming, gorgeous guy in charge of the kingdom.
Oh.
Had all these picks. He picks the little girl that he found in a hovel.
Because the shoe fits.
Because the shoe fit. That was all he needed. He's like, that's mine. I was like, what? It's pretty humble. Anyway. The Copper Owl again. Thanks. I am the guy who posts the Legos. Oh, it's you. Okay. Got another Disney one I'll post
himself.
in memes today, which includes the improved me and Mike Testa. Ooh. Also, both Lego and Pokemon have huge SJWs or just shit take fans. Oh. All right. That happens. You know, it's unavoidable. All the things you love, someone else loves, and they're weird. So, yes, I learned that early on, and even Star Trek when I was a kid. I was like, wow, you too like Star Trek. Okay, that's interesting. Anyway.
Be considered a fairly controversial pair, Pocahontas and John Smith. Yeah. Even when putting aside actual history and focusing on just their fictional portrayals, it's still hard to completely ignore. Especially when John Smith spends a whole scene telling Pocahontas that she and her people don't know any better. Thankfully, John Smith isn't arrogant enough to ignore Pocahontas' teachings and is willing to admit that he was wrong. Both of them work together.
Can we get some specifics, what he was trying to say and what she taught him that he was wrong about? Usually when
Was she wrong about anything?
I don't know. I don't have any context. It's like, what did he say? Is he saying, you guys are a bunch of primitives, we have gunpowder and food and we could do all these things? And she's like, yeah, you're wrong, we got food too. You're like, okay.
I mean, historically speaking, John Smith was right.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to name it from the father of capitalism.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I'm just saying, it's like, what was he wrong about? It's great that Pocahontas taught him something and they formed a relationship, but what was the initial conflict? What was the pairing where it's like, hey, I'm John Smith, hey, I'm Pocahontas. By the way, primitive, why are you doing this with all your fish? You should grow them this way. That way they'd have more. She's like, no, we don't do that. That would do this or that because then the fish would be unhealthy. You're like, oh, okay. Like something like that. Just give us something we can work with and say, yes, they learned, they prospered, they fought against the conquistadors or whoever the hell the group was that caused this problem. And voila, you have an understanding of what the hell this guy's trying to say, why the relationship is good or bad. Anyway.
In order to get their respective people to stand down, and while their secret relationship did inadvertently lead to the death of Kokum, it wasn't completely their fault. Easily boosting their ranking is how protective they were of each other in the climax of the film, as well as how much John Smith cares about not only Pocahontas, but her happiness as well, hence why he nearly sacrificed himself to save her father. The two of them being willing to live apart for each other's sake also speaks volumes about their love. Maybe their relationship is idealized, but we still felt it deserved a spot in the healthy tier. Up next, we have Princess Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty, and Prince Philip. Though not a couple that's incredibly deep or as developed as some of our earlier pairs, there is still stuff to like here. For one, the two of them are able to fall in love without knowing who each other is. You don't always see a prince that's willing to give up an engagement to a princess for a peasant girl after all, nor do you
it's pretty fairy tale-esque. That's fine. It happens all the time in those kinds of stories. So
yeah, very basic too.
Yeah. It's not complicated. It's like, oh, she's pretty, she's there, she's amazingly magical in her weird dance and song. It's like, that's cool. Whatever.
Usually see a prince that's willing to fight a dragon for a girl he's just met. Aurora doesn't show as big of a romantic gesture, but the attraction is still there, once she starts to believe that they had met before in a dream. Honestly though, there's not much to this couple due to how little screen time and development they get. Still, we felt there was enough love there to just barely get them into the healthy tier.
How would this be unhealthy? He's a hero saving a girl and literally slaying a dragon. In your typical fantasy stories.
In no way did he treat her bad. In fact, he was willing to go that far to kill a dragon to save her.
But it's barely healthy? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? What did he do to her?
I can already see the Sleeping Beauty is gonna be toxic.
Oh, God.
I just want to know, what is the most toxic one that he's
Yeah, for sure.
At the bottom of the healthy is the royal Agrabah couple, Aladdin
Oh.
and Jasmine. Yeah,
How?
any relationship that's technically built on lies is gonna be fairly low on our list. Neither of them started off very honest, but it was Jasmine who dropped them in an attempt to save Aladdin from the guards. Aladdin, meanwhile, kept the lies going throughout the entire film, even after Jasmine encouraged him to just be honest with her. Not helping is
Yeah, but that's part of the whole story. It's Aladdin saying it doesn't matter that you're rich or thinking he has to impress her when it's not about that to her. It's about who you are. That's the story. If you didn't have that story, it wouldn't be the story of Aladdin. It would be some other story. So because of the plot, because of the nature of the conflict or the nature of the character having a flaw, it's not a good relationship. He is saving her from an evil king or whatever who just wants to take her for, I don't know, her position and then become a god. Like,
I think it's just a court magician. Like Jafar is like that's his position.
yeah. And then he finds the genie and he becomes the genie. And you're like, oh my god.
Yes.
Again, it's a hero story. He saves her. He has his own flaws, and Jasmine's like, yeah, chill out, bro. You're just a cool guy. Just stop trying to impress me, all right? I'm smarter than that. Is this the Saturday morning cartoon? Because it looks like there's a drop.
No, the second one. It's Return of Jafar.
Oh, because the quality looks very different.
Direct video.
Yeah.
And I believe they didn't even have Robin Williams as a genie because he was pissed at Disney.
They had Dan Castone in place of Robin Williams because he was originally supposed to be the genie in the first place.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, he was the first choice, wasn't he?
Just stick with Robin Williams.
Yeah, I know.
They pretty much made the
well,
genie to be Robin
Mike-
Williams.
My
They based the genie on his stand-up comedy act.
Mike,
Yeah.
stick with Robin Williams. Too late for that.
Shit.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I
But he
don't like.
killed himself.
Yeah, I
in
don't like
Zelda.
all this extra detail. He's like, well, this story, because I remember watching Aladdin on Saturday morning, and it wasn't bad. The stories, like the characters felt the same to me. Like Jasmine felt the same. She was still mature and intelligent. And Aladdin was, I mean, they were a couple, but they were doing their own goofy things. So,
I
mean,
don't think the show is necessary. The first movie was fine.
I know,
Just
but
to,
that's- but this guy is delving into all the extra material. So it's like, if you want to focus on that, there's quite a lot of material of Jasmine and Aladdin going around and doing their day to day. So what's the problem there? Does he even know they exist is what I'm trying to say, because he seemed to know about Rapunzel, which I never even heard there was a mini series or whatever in 2D animation. So it just so happened he found that one, but he didn't do any research on this. Weird.
how we started off this sequel, Return of Jafar, also lying.
You aren't hiding anything.
You think this guy would have learned, and he does, eventually. Honestly, all of this would have been enough to push them down into the gray, but the other aspects of their relationship are thankfully enough to overshadow the dishonesty. They have a strong connection out.
Okay, so because a guy is lying about anything to charm a girl, that's bad? When you have a magical genie that grants wishes, all for the purpose of wooing a girl.
I'm gonna reveal that on day one. Yeah.
By the way, this is all fake. I have magical powers. How exciting!
No, isn't this after the movie?
Yeah, obviously the sequel in the series is after the movie.
Yeah.
But she knows all that during the movie, so... But that's the point. It's all one big facade to hide who he really is.
Not from her.
Right.
From everyone else, I guess.
She figures it out. She's like, I don't care about this magic shit. I just want to know you as a person. And she still likes him, so...
Right, and are able to see each other for more than just their status. As such, they're also incredibly supportive of each other and will fight for each other. Hell, Jasmine was willing to kiss someone like Jafar for Aladdin. Now that was a sacrifice. So, with this couple at least, the good parts outshine the questionable parts. Now we've come to the
But how about we just count in like the thief and the cobbler, which was like copying this move.
Who's picking the screenshots for the video? They're all awkward looking.
Yeah, well, he's skipping over all the extra content. If we're gonna use it all. Use all the material. Use the comics. Use the TV shows, the miniseries, the spin-offs. Use whatever you got where you can pull in from. If that's how you're gonna use this, because we're not just limited to one video or one Disney flick. So, like the video games, I'm sure there's sing-alongs just for kids out there. Like, go nuts.
Even Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that nuts. Not that nuts.
No. Use it all. I don't care. Use it all. If you're going to use...
There was like the Genie educational game, which was like Robin Williams' revenge on Disney. Because like he said, like, because you had me this much, I'm going to like have the Genie license for something. I'm going to make something good with that.
I mean, Mark,
I'm teach kids how to pronounce the alphabet.
It took him 2 movies and the TV series for them to bring back Rapunzel and Maui.
I think like he came back for the 3rd movie, haven't he?
Wow.
Still too late.
It's still too late, yeah.
Yeah. Well, either way, I don't like this criteria. He's not making his criteria, like, we don't know what he's using, and he's not looking at all the data, which is just annoying. This could be put, number 2 and replace it with number 6. Like, who cares? Justify it. Say, oh, we like this one better. It's just more fun. We like it. It's cute.
pairs that could use some work. These are the gray relationships. We only have a couple pairs here, with the first one being Anna and Kristoff. Let's get this out of the way first. As sweet as these two can be, it really does feel incredibly one-sided at times. Yes, the attraction is mutual, as is the care and love they have for each other. But due to Anna being so hyper-focused on the well-being of her sister, Kristoff kind of ends up left in the dust a lot of the time.
Okay, so again, the plot demands that we have the story focus on Anna and her sister. It makes sense. And because of that, the relationship is bad? Why can't you evaluate the actual relationship with Kristoff and Anna? I don't see the... This is...
Any of these two characters are just horrible. I know that like Kristoff is really wanting to like go straight about his feelings, but like he's always like held back by something. It was so annoying. It's just like the movie is just like pushing this because they have like so little to go on about. So they have like some side plot to like, oh, they gonna get together. Oh god, no.
Subversion.
It seems odd that he's pointing out other relationships as opposed to the one that you should actually be evaluating. It's like, well, Anna has a relationship with this other dude and the snowman, and there's like, yeah, there's other characters. What's your point? Well, the story didn't focus on that. It's like, so focus on what is actually there. Things get in the way. Yeah, that's tragic. That's a bonus point. They're fighting for this thing they want, and then something gets in the way, and they got to go do that thing. That's, to me, is good. That's good storytelling, but that's not the focus of the story. This is a side story between side characters or secondary characters. That's also fine. You can tell those stories. It may not be the focus. There may not be as much screen time, but you still have to evaluate what's there and just what's there. Not this, he has a relationship with his dog and that's really cute. And it's like, I don't care. That's not the evaluation. Like, then you could argue, well, he could kick his dog. Then he's a bad person. It's like, oh no. That has nothing to do with Anna, though. See, there's all this extraneous stuff, which I hate when you're trying to make a criteria. You have standards like evaluate the first film. Like, you're not evaluating Frozen 2, I imagine. Just the first one. So, does that count? Like, how's he going to handle that? This is so broken. Like, this guy is like, oh, this is my favorite film. I'm going to talk about Rapunzel. Like, okay.
Nowhere is this clearer than in Frozen 2, where Anna tends to act dismissive of Kristoff even as he's trying to propose, and doesn't even think to tell him where she's going when she goes with Elsa. Yeah, these two don't really have the best communication skills. Not helping is how it's almost always Kristoff making the effort, whether he's helping her through an icy tundra, saving Anna's life, or helping her destroy the Arendelle Dam. Still, we're cutting this couple a bit of slack, as even if Anna doesn't always put as much effort into their relationship, she still loves Kristoff. She supports his career and lets him know at the end of the sequel that she doesn't need him to be a traditional prince and—
Okay, wait. So this is a gray relationship because they both love each other. She gets preoccupied with other things like trying to save her sister, and they're both supportive. Like, what? I'm not... Again, the focus is not on their relationship. It's on Anna and her sister. It's always been that. And that's bad. Like, what? Can you imagine if Anna took Kristoff everywhere and had him involved in every single part that she's involved in? It's like, look, they're always together and they're always doing what they want to together, and Anna wants to help her sister, so they do, and Kristoff is there supporting her, and it's so good. It's the best relationship ever. It's like, that would be weird and creepy.
That isn't that basically what they did?
I don't know what
Kristoff is like pushed so much to the sideline that like I think I've watched the sequel only once, but I still remember like I just barely remember, like I had to like be reminded that like, oh, he's still in the movie. Oh. He does so little. It's amazing.
Yeah. This is a just bizarre evaluation. I'm just like, dude, you can go anywhere with this argument.
Just wait till you get streaming.
For this, we're willing to put them in the upper half of gray. Following them is probably the most famous Disney.
He has a criteria for gray that makes no sense.
It's upper half, bronze medal, number 4.
Yeah, I don't.
Upper half. How do I know we're going up? I feel like we're going backwards.
Just use numbers, dude. Like, we're so lost. What the hell you're talking about? This is like grayish, but the upper part of gray.
Smud. It gets worse when you look at streamings.
All right. Here is Lupin the Turd. Oh, great name. This nigga is saying that the relationship is bad because Anna is trying to help her sister instead of constantly wanting Kristoff to bend her over the railing and use her like a human fleshlight, while the royal court gawks in mute horror. Very weird. Yeah, I know. The story is specific about Anna trying to figure out what's going on and to stop her sister from freezing the whole village, or the whole kingdom for that matter. It's like, yeah, she has priorities outside of romance. That's the story. But the relationship is gray because Kristoff pursues her and she's too busy. Okay.
Belle and Princess
Oh,
Adam,
boy.
aka the Beast. Now, we aren't going to go into the whole can of worms that is the infamous Stockholm Syndrome theory, but even putting that aside, these two have quite a few issues. Adam, of course, has his infamous anger issues, often snapping at Belle early.
He is a literal beast. He is
Yeah.
lonely. He is lonely and cursed. He has a few issues, okay? It's like, Batman has lost his family, and he's so crazy and rich and nuts that he dresses up as a bat. He goes away for 10 or so years, masters every martial art, becomes the crazy detective dude just to dress up as a bat at midnight and beat people up. That's crazy. But he's amazing at what he does, and he helps Gotham City. We understand why he's a beast. We understand why he's feeling the way he's feeling. It's the whole backstory. It's the whole story. It's the Beauty and the Beast. What the fuck? So, even though this is the main plot, the romance between these two characters, it's bad because he's angry. All right, that's fine.
on in their relationship. Even after Belle saves his life, we see through films like Enchanted Christmas and Belle's Magical World that he had a couple relapses here and there. Then again, Belle has her own faults. She showed that she was willing to disregard the Beast's boundaries by going into the West Wing. Was it right for the Beast to forbid her from going elsewhere, especially since she was already technically—
Yeah, don't go into this room where I could die if you touch this magical artifact.
Is it like that he dies or he stays a beast forever?
Yeah, if he doesn't find love, he'll stay a beast forever, but that thing was cursed. If you touch it, then he'll die. It's something about he'll die or lose his soul.
Okay.
He'll lose his humanity.
No, he'll lose. Yeah, he'll lose the chance to become human.
Right. Which to me is death. You're no longer being the character you want to be. The thing you're striving for is humanity, and you're losing it as a result of that. Oh boy.
Clearly, the bad ending's canon, because why the hell is he a beast again?
Yeah, like don't go into the room which could blow up the house. Like, okay.
his prisoner? Probably not. But like—
He lets her go within a day, and then she goes around the mansion, and she can go anywhere she wants at that point, except that one room.
it's still his castle, he's allowed to have boundaries. And yeah, even if her time as a prisoner is filled with quite a bit of freedom, it's still just a bit concerning that Adam didn't consider letting her go until her father was at death's door. Even so, these two do have moments of showing respect and affection towards each other, their love eventually being genuine enough to break the spell. Concerns aside, Adam does sacrifice his own happiness for Belle in the end, while Belle sees him as more than just a beast. Can't really argue with an enchantress, even if we do feel like these two could have had a bit more positive development. Next up, we have Snow White and Prince Florian. Honestly, what can you even say about these two? They only have a few minutes of screen time together, and these minutes aren't exactly interesting either. Florian is friendly and charming towards
Because they don't
Snow
have
White.
like
The
a
two of them
mini-series
stay together for a
following
bit,
this.
and then spend the rest of the film apart, only reuniting when Florian comes to wake Snow White up. These two don't even have a conversation, yet they still end up—
Okay, yeah, it's a musical. They sing together. That's okay. If you guys know anything about stage productions or operettas or even ballets, they have musicals sometimes as well. Everything's conveyed in music, because music is more entertaining than a bunch of people talking. So if you're going to make the argument that they're not really talking and they never really had a conversation, it's like they have a musical number together. That is the point of this experience. You can't evaluate.
Together, and they also have their solo tracks as well.
Yeah, you can't evaluate a relationship in a musical as being not realistic because they sang together or whatever. And other stories have like Belle and whomever just talk half the time and then sing and dance half. It's like, what? Like, if you want to go that route, fine, but then you have to use the criteria of how many dances did they have together, how many musicals did they have together, how many solos did they have, what was the topic about? Like, you have to go into the nitty gritty of giving it a scoring system or something, because you could surely say, well, Frozen is the best because it made all the money and everyone loves the music. It's all about whatever, but even though that has nothing to do with Anna and Kristoff or what, like, it's still the best music. Therefore, that has the best romance or the best friendship, camaraderie, whatever you call that group trying to stop Anna's sister. It's like, dude, like, what are you doing? Do you understand where the era of Snow White came from and how it got there? Why we still have operas and operettas? It's how you explain or express a narrative in a musical form when you had those resources to do so, and now it's in a film format, in a little VHS tape that anyone has access to, and now it's on DVD, now it's on streaming. It's great. If they were to remake Snow White with just dialogue, it wouldn't be the same Snow White, obviously. Totally different story.
Snow White the JRPG.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. You start up leveling up your attack. I don't know. What were those creatures? I can't remember what they were. The witch.
The wolves?
Were they wolves? Yeah.
Oh, the witch, yeah.
Yeah, you were fighting wolves with a stick, and then you get a wooden sword, and then you get a club, and then you get a copper sword or something. I don't know.
You gotta dodge the arrow.
Yeah. Don't bite any fruit while you're in the witch's hut or whatever. Like, okay.
Oh, poison resistance.
Yeah, you got to build up your poison resistance. So when he kisses the Snow White, he doesn't die.
Snow White's like, oh, did you expect me to die from this?
Yeah, and plus in the original fairy tale, she choked on a piece of apple. It wasn't poison.
Yes.
So you have to train the Heimlich maneuver, and you have to get it right. You have to clear her passageways in your throat. Oh, God.
I thought like it would play out just like the Princess Bride. The same with the poison.
Oh, God, yeah. Jeez.
How about we both eat the apple?
Let's see who survives. Mine for my cup and yours for yours. Okay.
Married by the end of the film? Yeah, these two are a textbook example of a shallow, traditional fairy tale relationship.
Okay, so when she kisses all the dwarves and sings and dances with them, is that also shallow? Or is that just how they convey the story?
Yeah. No, I think like he only meant the relationship between the two.
I know, but this is so... Like, it's a musical, dude. They express things with dancing and singing. I don't... Like, why are you dismissing that? They only had one conversation. Yeah, because half the time they were dancing and singing with each other for the whole freaking film. This is so silly. It's like you go to the circus. Well, they didn't have any dialogue. When I was watching Cirque du Soleil, they just had horses and trapeze acts. Like, there's no characters. Like, what's going on?
But how do I know? Like, how do you feel if they don't express it in dialogue?
So stupid.
They may not have any huge conflicts like Belle and Beast, but kissing someone when they're asleep isn't exactly a grand or selfless romantic gesture. Compare that to...
I don't know what the consequences were for kissing her, but it's an expression of love. It's pretty classic, even when she's dead.
It is. Like the kiss of health.
That's wrong. You shouldn't have kissed her. That's not what? That's the whole story.
Oh,
That's literally how you wake her up.
It just sucks out the poison.
Yeah, I know.
No, that's how she wakes up. Well, I guess she has to stay in this permanent sleep, I guess.
Yeah. Let's not lodge in the book, let's not lodge the apple from her throat, even though we didn't know that. Let's not use the magical kiss that brings her out of a coma. Dude. Oh, it's not very romantic. It's like it saved her life. I'm sure there was some build-up, like why he was doing that. I can't remember. Was it the fairy godmother? Was that Sleeping Beauty? I can't remember who tells the prince to go. True love kiss will break any evil charm or spell or something like that.
I guess.
It's like, hey, this magical thing called true love has powers over actual magic. Oh, really? So that proves he actually did love her? Even metaphorically?
It all goes back to Kingdom Hearts, guys. I swear.
Oh, God, no, it doesn't.
No.
I mean, the previous episode was Kingdom Hearts, right?
I like how quick Smud was to say that. It's like, no, it doesn't.
I don't think an amalgamated pastiche is the best way to express the original primary source, but okay. There are some similarities for sure. They can't just come from nothing. But I don't think it's more like an amusement ride, Kingdom Hearts with the Disney stuff. It's fun, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's not. I mean, and in all seriousness, it's not like there's no connection.
Right, I know. It's the same with the Final Fantasy characters. It's always like, all right, there's Cloud, weird version of himself.
Like the Final Fantasy's case is the whole thing of like friendship, teamwork, like unity, yada yada, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it gets really weird with
responsibility,
with Final Fantasy VIII, where I don't know if you guys know the development of Final Fantasies and 8 specifically, but it was based off how can we appeal to the mass market? We're going to make everyone white. We're going to make Squall after a famous boy band dude. We're gonna make Renoa attractive.
Really now?
Yeah, we're gonna make Renoa attractive to the Japanese specifically. So they made like a character just for the Japanese audience. The original character Tetsuya Minura wanted Quistis to be 28, but that didn't fit the lore. He was really pissed off when they rewrote her to be 18, and she was supposed to be the the Americanized version of that. There's all this stuff in the characterization and why they designed it a certain way, and it was such a mess. When you just started playing, you're like, what the freaking hell am I playing? And then you read that, you're like, oh, that makes so much sense now that the way we got it and how it turned out and why, and the time travel bullshit and the memories and amnesia. Oh my God, what a mess. Anyway, let's not get into that. Here is the Copper Owl again. Kissing a sleeping girl is the ultimate Sigma male play because 1% of the time it works 100% of the time. Well, you have to remember she's dead. She is not coming back. So I see it no different than a loved one kissing a corpse at a funeral. It's the same kind of.
She was alive when she loved him, so
yeah, and he loved her.
Fuck it.
Yeah. It's totally fine. It's a corpse. It's not hurting anyone.
Slaying a dragon or jumping out of a window and chasing after a boat.
You're still saving. It's the hero trope. You're still saving the damsel. You're saving the heroine.
He still came back.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a dragon or an ant. You know, you're doing the thing which is keeping the person you love.
It's the reason why he came back at the end. He went out to go get a pack of cigarettes and then just realized, oh, wait a minute, this is a Disney film. I'm not supposed to smoke. Then he comes back.
Ugh.
Additionally, since they don't get a Disney sequel expanding on their relationship like Cinderella and Charming,
Please.
Because they don't.
This can't be a criteria.
It wasn't popular, guys. They didn't make in the 1950s or whenever Cinderella came out. They never had enough time and money and popularity to make a sequel. Really?
Or maybe they just knew when to let Best be alone.
Yeah, it was no. It was the creators thought it was perfect and they didn't have to do anything else. Like, yes, thank you. This guy is hurting my brain.
We just couldn't put them any higher. Following them are China's power couple, Mulan and Li Shang. Unlike Cinderella and Charming, whose direct-to-DVD film helped show their relationship in a more positive light, Mulan 2 only hurt these two, unfortunately. Let's start with the positives first. Through the first movie, the two of them grew to respect each other and were able to work together and support each other well. Though Shang was betrayed by her and was angered by her deception, he refused to take her life, and it only took a bit of pushing for him to fight by her side once again. As for Mulan, she was always supporting Shang in more emotional ways, comforting him and saying that she thought he was a great captain. Unfortunately, things take a turn for the worst in the sequel. While it may be normal for couples to fight, their arguments show just how stubborn they could be when it came to their beliefs, being fairly unwilling to actually talk things out.
Absolutely.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Shang also showed a level of distrust.
So, because they argue and they don't agree on what they talk about or come to a compromise.
Like most married couples?
Yeah, like most relationships, you're going to have arguments.
It didn't help. Moshi was trying to separate them in the second film for some reason.
Yeah, this is like they have.
God damn you, Eddie Murphy.
When you have a romance story as the main theme, if the people who are already together don't argue, there's no conflict. What would they? Why would you have a romance then? It's just a bunch of people who love each other? No, that's boring. No one's going to watch that. They need to have problems in their marriage or relationship, or a third man or woman comes into the picture and tries to mess that up. And this is basic stuff. He has to explain why this is bad or why this is unhealthy. Are we still in the gray area? I don't remember what we are anymore.
This is great.
Yeah, it's like they could even break up and come. Like, that's fine. if they have some resolution near the end that they come together and figure out, that could be an even better, if not stronger, relationship because they dealt with that problem.
Remember Smud. Remember Smud. It was only a few gray areas here. Only a few, he says.
Yeah, the sequel makes it worse. It's like, how do you know it doesn't make it better? How do you know their relationship doesn't get stronger as a result of dealing with all this conflict? Like, how do we evaluate the health of a relationship? I would argue it's the more conflict they have, the more issues they deal with, and they're still together. You could make that argument with a married couple who've been married for 50 years or whatever. All the crap they deal with all throughout their life, and they're still together. They still love each other, and they're putting up with each other all this time. Seems pretty healthy. Seems pretty normal. Or would you want them to break up at the first sign of, oh, no, he's not being nice to her. He's recommending she do something else, and she doesn't want to do it, and then they divorce or whatever. I don't get it. I have nothing to fall back on with this guy. Conflict bad. Oh, okay. Everything has to be, pixies and fairies and roses and apple pie. Everything has to be fantastic all the time.
In Mulan, that was frankly kind of shocking. Even if it was partially due to Mushu's influence, it still just wasn't a good look.
Oh, so there's a third party causing the distress. Therefore, bad.
But it's still their fault somehow.
Yeah. What the hell?
Real smooth.
You make any argument between a married couple and like the mother or the father of either just butting their heads in and messing things up. It's like, oh shit. Clearly it's their fault. They have a horrible relationship because a third party intervened. Like, what?
They're able to come back together in the end, even being willing to sacrifice for each other. But it's hard to tell just how well these two would withstand more adversity or conflict in the future. Finishing off the Greys are the digital BFFs, Princess Vanellope and Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, if you've seen Ralph Breaks the Internet, it's really not much of a surprise to see these two this far down. In the first movie, these two were similar to Moana and Maui, very sibling-like, often being more playful but still supporting each other a ton. Even after their brief breakup following Ralph wrecking Vanellope's cart wasn't enough to destroy their relationship, showing just how strong that connection was. But in the sequel, Vanellope becomes just a bit more self-centered and dismissive of her friend's feelings, and Ralph goes from protective and caring to incredibly clingy. There's a huge difference between Ralph wrecking Vanellope's cart because he thinks he's saving her life, to Ralph trying to ruin Slaughter Race so that he doesn't have to say goodbye or talk about his concerns.
You really are a bad guy.
It's honestly just a huge mess and really hard to overlook even after Ralph learns his lesson. Still, the two of them being able and willing to work things out keep them from being considered completely toxic. Now,
okay, wait. So that was Gray? Now,
I mean, if anything, they both seem like pieces of shit to me.
Okay, now
There's only 2 minutes left of this video, and there's...
now you're gonna talk about toxic relationships? What the fuck?
Remember, it was only a few, Gigaman. He was gonna say a few.
Is he gonna do like some? Is he gonna do? He's gonna go through them speed round style?
No, it's even worse.
Is it all the others? Like all the other Disney films have toxic relationships, which aren't romantic.
Toxic relationships. Everything else.
Yeah, can you imagine a romantic toxic relationship? Like, what the hell, dude? Like, what do you do? How does that work? All right, let's go.
Now it's time for the relationships, or rather relationship, that may be seen by others as pretty concerning. Our one and only toxic Disney princess relationship is Raya and Namaari. Although Raya is a Disney princess, some may think that it's sort of cheating to put these two on the list at all. Still,
All right, what is this from?
Fucking
Raya and the Last Dragon.
Oh right, that film that exists.
Did this just come out a few months ago?
A year ago.
Okay, because
A year ago.
I think I was watching this with my niece and nephew like a few months ago, and I was like, oh, what is? I've never heard of this. All right.
how much the crux of this movie depended on these two, as well as just the huge shipping community these two garnered even before the film came out, we felt that we just had to talk about these two. Though they bond almost immediately, that connection is quickly taken advantage of by Namaari, and that just kind of sets the tone for their entire relationship. The two are often fighting each other, whether it be through taunting or actual combat. Things get a
Yeah, but they're excuse me. They have these multiple groups and cultures that are fighting for these magical stones, I think, that do some sort of they can attack with it or something. They give them powers. So everyone's vying for it, and one of the stones from her father is like out of energy or whatever. It's old, and they're all just fighting for it. Who should be in charge of these stones to protect people? So it makes sense that this group of people would be violent and combative. That's fine. It's part of the plot. It's part of the setting.
lot less playful, however, in the second half of the film. Despite trying to do things peacefully, Namaari not only refuses to put down her weapon, or even take her finger off the trigger, but also completely blames Rhea for the incident after Sisu is killed. Whether you think Rhea should have trusted Namaari or not, it's still ridiculous for Namaari to blame it entirely on Rhea simply on the conflict.
Okay, what are we... these are two girls, right? And...
Yep.
Okay. So... how does this even relate to all these romantic or sub-romantic stories? This...
Kingdom Hearts?
No. You can imagine putting this bullshit in Kingdom Hearts? Oh my god.
No. No, if anything, just put it as, hey, Sora, remember that time we went to this place? No.
No.
Okay. Just move on with the conversation.
That's kind of like Monty Python. Let's not go to Camelot. 'Tis a silly place. It's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go.
It's only a mall.
If they wanted to pull off in Kingdom Hearts do all of their IPs, that would be kind of funny, just to put them all together.
Wait. What if do everything that Disney bought? Use Planet of the Apes, Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, no.
Come on, guys! If you believe hard enough, maybe the planet doesn't get nuked. I guess they didn't believe in the Kingdom of Hearts.
Yeah, so comparing the fantasy, folklore-ish, 1950s operetta style animations where we have magical kisses and princes and princesses. Now we have like warrior tribes fighting for magical powers who fight each other even though they were childhood friends. It's like it's so different. These are totally different genres. They're not romantic. They're rivals. They're supposed to be even though they started off as friends and they become rivals later in life. They're violent. The whole nature of this relationship is violence. It's toxic. No, they're beating each other up. It's not toxic. They're trained to fight.
They had previously had. And again, she was the one who made it look like she was going to shoot. The trust that Rhea eventually has in her feels more like a last-ditch effort than actual trust. Given that she didn't exactly have much of an actual choice, seeing that they were completely surrounded by Dunn. What makes this worse is that Namaari doesn't give much of an actual apology to Rhea for all the betraying she did, or even do much to make up for all the...
Wait a second. So I don't know what this has to do with the characterization or the story, but because she doesn't apologize, therefore it's worse? So she trusts her, but it's an accident, she pulls the trigger or whatever. It's just, I don't know. If you don't think you did something wrong, you shouldn't have to apologize. It's pretty straightforward. It's like, it was an accident. I didn't mean to do it. Whatever. You saw it. You were there. Why would she have to apologize? Keep in mind, I haven't watched this entire film. I was watching it in between, and plus it had the Mandarin version on as well. So it was actually, I think it sounded better with Mandarin The inflections and the setting made more sense. I was watching with English subtitles. So it was pretty cool. Like, it's a cool film. It's hard to follow because it's so weird. Like with these two tribes, or I don't think there's like 5 families or something, but they have that glowing orb thing, which has magical powers, and they're all fighting for these orbs. Okay, whatever. She didn't apologize. That's bad.
Harm she caused. So this relationship essentially goes from hostile to affectionate, yet shallow. Though the movie does have a hopeful outlook on the relationship, we aren't ranking these pairs on their potential, only what we see in canon. So, we felt we had to call Raya and Namari our most toxic Disney princess relationship. But let us know in the comment section if you agree with...
Okay, so imagine if, I don't know, let's pick Jasmine and Aladdin. Imagine Aladdin was actually a prince, and he was part of a warring tribe, and Jasmine was part of a warring, and they were fighting. And that's how they communicate, with fighting, with sending armies after each other, and hundreds of men died, and all because they were like trying to one up the other, and it was all just ego and I'm better than you. Yeah, it's crap. But they actually were. That's their way of flirting. I'm gonna take over part of your city here, and you're gonna come attack me on the side over there. Like, that's kind of weird, but that's the story between warring peoples, warring factions, whatever. Now, you would say, well, that's not very healthy. It's like, yeah, but that's who they are. They are warlords. That's the culture, which is pretty brutal, but they're doing it because they have affection for each other, and that's how they show it. They're what's the proper D&D, chaotic neutral, or I don't know, some sort of status where they do good and evil, or they do evil things for good reasons. That sort of idea. The whole nature of the story would be different. But that's their relationship. They didn't kill each other. They want to be with each other, and they're proving to each other they're strong and they can fight, and she's just as capable as he is, and they can command armies, and they're powerful, and that would be part of the story. But he would say, that's toxic. They're getting people killed. They're not being honest with themselves. Like, that's how they communicate. That's normal to them. That's their culture. The same way in that culture of whatever families fighting for power, they fight for dominance to prove that they're stronger. Even though one of them wants peace, the other 4 are like, no, we're stronger than all of you. We're gonna go grab those magical stones and be the strongest. Oh, we're almost done. Holy crap.
Our ranking, and let us know what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge more of our videos.
Why is Mike Wazowski a
Most
toxic
importantly,
relationship? What the hell?
stay wicked.
Parental relationships. Pixar romantic. Is this all they do?
Seemingly, yes. It seems like a Watch Mojo style channel dedicated
Here at
for
Watch
Disney
Mojo,
stuff.
Here at Watch Mojo, we don't bother watching the films and actually fuck the names up.
We're going to supposedly watch these films and talk about relationships between parents from healthy to toxic. Is this all this is? Just some weird SJW
moral
grift?
compass.
Yeah. Here.
No, it's just here's the good from bad.
Here are the good people, and here are the bad people, because I think they're bad. They're toxically bad. Like, well, dude, I didn't watch most of that movie.
If there's enough ad money that pays for it.
Apparently. Just make up bullshit stories or your interpretation of stories.
Have for the Pixar one. How bad
forget Pixar. Good Lord. Who knows what they're going to say? What a bizarre channel. All right. Let's get going. We got some stream memes, I think.
Hey.
All right. It was me, Copper Owl. That's good. And
Wait, I want to read this one.
Here it is. In the name of the people of Florida.
Wait, I want to read.
All right.
In the name of the people of Florida, Mickey Mouse, you are under arrest. Oh, so it's treason then.
Who the hell are these guys?
Oh my God, Mickey Mouse with a double lightsaber.
I'm gonna lose my. Oh god damn it! I'm gonna lose my hand to whoever saves Mickey Mouse. Thrown out the window.
The title must be backwards. Oh, this is yours, Mike, because the look at this shit. Disney princesses.
Yeah, the thumbnail's the other way around.
From dumb to brilliant. But why is it that it goes brilliant first, then dumb? It's like, what the hell is happening?
It's purposely done this way because like then you're gonna be like, well, this is already a dumb decision. I'm gonna like look at this video, like how dumb it is.
Yeah.
It just drags you in, like those like small ads that you see in YouTube videos.
It's like the ads. Remember this person? Now they're hot and older.
So wait a second. This was 8 months
Remember
ago.
this ugly person?
It has 73,000 views, but because they're calling Disney princesses dumb, people don't like it because apparently, this is what I think, they're attracting the SJW is people. So because it had toxic in the title, therefore, yay, let's bash Americana. Let's take a chunk out of Disney because Disney's bad capitalism, and they make women look weak, and they have bad, unhealthy relationships we shouldn't be teaching our kids because that's bad. But because they're bashing women now, or the heroes of women or whatever, therefore no one cares. Or didn't get was not as attractive 8 months ago. Yeah. Bizarre channel.
Also, again, where do they get these fucking screenshots?
Yeah. It's not very consistent. Here is... What is this?
Relationships? Toxic relationships?
It's an animated GIF of what? Who's kissing?
Oh, it's Loki.
Oh, it's Loki? I have no idea. I haven't seen this. Here's... Oh, okay. Yeah, I know this one.
Oh no, Raylo, get it away.
And the last one. We've always had bad timing, haven't we? Oh. Well, that was a...
That was awful.
Yeah, I'm trying to describe how disappointed I am. It's not like this stupid video. Like he's obviously...
On a scale of 10.
Yeah, I can use an actual metric because we've covered video channels like this before. Disappointed, I would say close to 7 or 8. Probably 7.5. Because he knows some extra lore or some extra videos, but he doesn't know all of it. So therefore the evaluation is wrong. The criteria was never established. His understanding of the lore of the last one, which didn't make sense to me because the whole story was about conflict and finding that 100-year-old dragon to help him out or whatever it was. And I didn't watch the whole show because I was playing with my niece and nephew. But you're missing the forest for the trees there if you understand why they're fighting. Oh my goodness. What up is this channel? Is this all it is? Is just stupid like top 10 list?
Here's this thing.
Yeah. It's let me just go into it. Let me just go into their video list. Pixar's complete kill count that came out a few hours ago. Which Cuphead show character would win the Squid Game?
What the fuck?
They do these every day almost.
No, I'm convinced that this is an AI.
Cuphead character wins the Squid Game. They're fucking cartoons. They'll just come back, you dumb asshole.
They must have like a huge budget to pump these out of this because the production value is pretty high. Like they have to get clips and put them together in 10, 20, 30-minute episodes.
Yeah, but once you have like the template, like you can just like drag and drop like any footage you want.
They must have a really good naming convention database of all these videos they just draw from. Yeah, this is crazy. Disney live action villains.
You know what? I don't want this.
Evil to most evil. Like what the?
You know what? I don't want this stream to end on a downer. So check the stream memes again. Just here's some Nigel.
Okay,
cheer you up.
All right.
Here,
what do we
audience, have something happen.
got? I can barely see that. He's so beautiful. Okay. All right.
Smashing.
And this is Tarzan?
It's Tarzan, but it's Nigel Thornberry.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Tarzan wasn't it? Was Tarzan's a Disney film too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they forgot Tarzan.
Well, ever since Harambe, it's difficult to talk about.
Not the same.
Harambe, the Disney is a Disney character, I guess.
Well,
Yeah, they killed Harambe's dad in Tarzan.
oh dear. Well, I don't know, guys. This is what is
Honestly, I don't want to blacklist this because I want to see how much more shit
No, I
is in
don't.
there.
I just don't want this to be voted because it's so boring.
it's so
It doesn't offer any intellectual.
yeah, it's just
any entertainment even.
I think these things are in this order for no reason that makes any logical sense. And you're like, okay, good for you. It's not helping anyone in the discussion. If you're ever to make an evaluation of these films in some sort of lens, like I don't know, a critical lens of feminism or politics, or pick a topic. If you don't know what you're talking about, and you don't have all the data, then who cares? You're wrong. It's such a waste. And this guy does this stuff every day almost. How? He has to be hired by some parent company. There has to be like some main channel here.
Definitely.
Yeah. He has, again, I said he has like One Up Binge, Otaku Binge. This is their biggest channel though. Like everything else is like really tiny. So they do gaming, they do anime stuff, they do Blood Binge, which is horror stories. There's Kyle's, whoever Kyle is, he only has 221 subs, which is weird. Poke Binge, 1.27 thousand subs. What a weird channel. Yeah, no, they're fine to cover. I don't mind covering them again, but we're just like, ugh, this is dumb.
Oh my god.
Like with Maggie May Fish, we're like, this is retarded.
No, with covering these guys, I think you gotta do like a double one where it's, it feels like it's too short with this shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe for another day. We still need to replace Renegade Cut because we're not covering him anymore for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know why.
I think
Is Renegade Cut?
forgot
Is Renegade
about him
Cut? Is he
yesterday?
Is he finally blacklisted?
No.
No,
No, there's
Aw.
just no interest about
no,
it.
we can't
Aw.
blacklist him.
It comes down to whether you guys want to do it, and we just don't. We just don't want to do it. He's that bad. It's like, oh, what's the point? Why are we listening to this poor man talk about his bad ideas? Although the one we were about to cover, it was one of his first videos. It was a human being talking to us in some capacity. Like, wow, he cares about the topic. He's talking.
We
about
should like do that one video and like just end the Renegade Gut saga entirely.
Yeah, I know.
Renegade Gut. No, you know what?
I wish it was Gut. So
Yeah.
No, you know what? Next on, from Healthy to Toxic, just make a parody of these people where it's just, clearly Guts and Costco's a toxic relationship. Just put it for clickbait bullshit.
Oh God.
oh yeah.
Anyway, I got to go back to making my wonderful Star Trek video. It's taking me so long.
God, the Picard one.
It's hard to describe how, like, there are good moments or good scenes, but it's always as a result of forced dialogue where it's like, okay, now the same with the first season. They got near the end where there's all this conflict. It's like, wow, it's really ramping up. But it's so like, what do you do when someone points a gun at you? Oh, okay, obviously you don't act stupid. Like, it's that sort of writing where the characters are forced into a corner to do something that which they shouldn't, if they weren't forced into a corner, they wouldn't do. That's the reason why it's watchable. But when you actually analyze it, what's going on, all the details just that are lost, or the conversations that don't sound like humans are talking to each other, it's just like, wow, this is... And the fact there's like 4 scenes or 4 sets, and you're like, they have like how much millions of dollars? You're like, where's all this money going? Like, how does this happen? Like, you could be doing so much more with this budget and writers, and it's just baffling. And I sit there, I'm trying to like half the stuff I recorded for my voiceover, I'm using like, I have to redo it or I have to get rid of it because it's like, why did I say that? It's so aggravating to watch this show and to think of it critically. Your brain just goes, oh, this is not worth it. Just forget about that crap. Because I know people in the comments, there's this one guy, he covered a few of my videos and he went through like 80 observations that either I made some of or he just went into more detail. Some of it's nitpicking, of course. But it was so like, why did this happen? This seems stupid. Why did that happen? That's also really, like, it just kept going and going and going. And that's the problem with bad writing, is it opens up all these questions that lead to more questions. And your brain just can't catch up. And you're like, I can't be bothered to that degree. I'm on my second day already working on this video and, taking a nap and trying to exercise and coming back. It's so draining. And it's not even a good, I don't make great videos. I just clip here's and there and do screen caps, but oh God, is it so draining. I'd rather be sleeping. Anyway, guys, I did get a new patron, I think just today. And if you go to the patron voting on the video, he gave me 10 topics and I'll be making a video on that in the coming week. So please give that a gander. As always, keep the voting going for the actual Smudcast. That's still happening. And thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you real soon. Have yourself a great evening. Bye-bye.